So the situation going on with Roblox Forsaken is actually insane. It's so crazy that I have to make this video talking about it, and honestly, this might end up being one of the most important videos I ever make in the history of my channel. So for the people that don't know what's going on, let's just hop right on into it, right? This is Roblox Forsaken. Over the past few months, the game has absolutely blown up. In fact, it's one of the most popular games on Roblox right now. This is literally the front page. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is the 6th most popular game on Roblox right now. And for those of you that have never seen the game or played the game, it's kind of like Dead by Daylight. There is a killer and there are a bunch of survivors. The survivors have to turn on all the generators and survive the time limit before the killer, takes everyone out. Well, anyway, you see the person who made the game is this person right here. Their name is Soul. They are the owner of the game along with somebody named Ava. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think Ava is like this person's girlfriend. Anyway, they own the game, or they did. So it looks like Soul here actually deleted like pretty much all of their tweets, but they're in a little bit of drama. I don't even know if calling it drama is the right word. If you just type in Soul Forsaken and search that on Twitter, you're going to get a wide range of different tweets here. I don't really want to get too much into the weeds here. Basically, what you need to know is that allegedly Soul has done some pretty bad things. I say allegedly because basically Soul isn't really quite the greatest person in the world. That's what you need to know. Also, I should sidestep this and just say this just real quick right off the bat. I made a video about this the other day on Twitter, but I think it really needs to be reiterated here. And that's the fact that if somebody is doing something illegal, all right, if you have evidence of crimes being committed, all right, you really need to send that stuff to the police, right? And there's a reason for that. Because tweeting it out and making exposed videos and essays and, giant Twitter threads and Google documents that are like 20 pages long, like that's great. Cool, that's fantastic. But it doesn't actually do much. It doesn't really do anything, right? And that's kind of what happened in this case here with this Soul person. Bunch of evidence came out. It was all over Roblox news. In fact, I don't know how I haven't heard of it up until this point, but basically this person did some pretty crazy things, allegedly. And you see, the problem is whenever you don't actually go to the proper authorities with things, whenever you just tweet stuff out and say, oh yeah, job well done, well, it doesn't actually do anything. Right? And you'll see why here in a second, right? Let me keep going. So basically it came out that Soul did allegedly some bad stuff, right? And so Soul decided to give ownership of Forsaken over to two of the developers that are working on the game, right? Here's actually the announcement in the Discord. The announcement says, following recent events and agreements with the team, the ownership of Forsaken has been transferred to myself, Hitoko, and Basil. They're basically the new owners of the game. We got Hitoko here, and we have Basil right here. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing their names right. And you might think that's where the story ends, right? Soul got exposed, they deleted all their tweets, left the internet, and now we got Basil and Hitoko. They're the new developers of the game. They own the game. Everything's great. Everything's sunshine and rainbows now, right? Well, no, actually. No, it's not. Because you see, late last night, Soul actually sold the game to someone completely different. Hitoko tweeted out and was like, Soul sold the game instead of finishing things, and this is actually crazy. Let me try and break this down for you, okay? So there's apparently a Discord server where a lot of people will go in there and sell their Roblox games, and people will buy those games for large amounts of money, right? We've been over this. These giant companies, these giant corporations, they'll go in, they'll buy these games for cheap and then, stick monetization in them or resell them for a higher price, etc., etc. You get the idea. Basically, Soul sold the game to somebody completely different, just unrelated to Forsaken. Soul's like, hey, I want my money. I'm selling the game. I'm out. They might be asking, well, how is that possible, right? Like this person here on Twitter said, it's over. We won. Soul left Twitter and they transferred ownership of the game to Hitoko and Basil. We're good. No, you're not good. And this is not how this works, right? Look, I'm not yelling at like the developers or anything like that. This is just frustrating because this is a situation that happens all the time on Roblox, right? It's a situation that all these kids find themselves in because they think a few tweets and a few Discord messages can solve everything. That's not how real life works, okay? So basically what happened is Soul told Basil and Hitoko, right, that they were going to give ownership of Forsaken over to the game. But here's the thing. They never signed anything. Until there are legal documents signed, until a lawyer is present, until, actual professionals, deal with this, it doesn't matter, right? This person can tweet out all day long that they're going to give ownership of the game to X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter. It does not matter until there is a contract in place, until there is legal work done. What this person says does not matter. And that's exactly what happened here. Sol told Hitoko and Basil that they were going to give ownership of the game over to them, but they lied, right? Instead of doing that, they actually sold the game. According to this tweet here, they sold the game to someone named Perriette or Perrier. Here's actually a screenshot right here. In fact, I actually have his Roblox account up. This is the guy right here that now owns Forsaken. And let me just explain what that means, right? This guy is the owner of Forsaken, right? He now owns the game. Basil and Hitoko, hopefully I'm saying their names right. They never owned the game, right? They never owned the game because there was never any legal paperwork or anything like that. This guy owns the game. Whether he owns 100% of the game or whether he owns 50% of the game and Sol and Ava still own the other 50%, I don't really know. But this guy is now the owner of the game. Now, who is this guy? Well, I actually don't know. According to Alex Tanuki here, this is someone that they tweeted. They said, "I promise you, Perriette isn't a bad guy. He's profit first, but he also cares." So basically what this guy does is he buys games and then I guess like resells them later for like a high amounts of money or something like that, or buys them and like... We've been over this, right? The same thing happened with Grow a Garden and Fish and Do Big and, you know, all these studios. They buy a game and then they add monetization to it or they resell it and they try to make money off of it, right? Like that's what these people do, right? And so this is the reality. This guy owns the game. If this guy wanted to delete the game right now, he could. If he wanted to fire the entire development team of Forsaken, he could do that if he wanted to. He now owns the game. Right? Like that's the reality. And a lot of people are worried. It's like, oh my God, what's going to happen to Forsaken now? Is it going to turn into a situation like, does Do Big own Skinwalkers now too? Good Lord, they just buy everything. Is this going to turn into a situation where, you know, Forsaken gets owned by one of these big corporations that just loads the game up with monetization and pay to win mechanics and loot boxes. And then, you know, 5 months from now, the game's dead. Looking at you, Fish. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know this Perriette guy. I've no idea what he's about. Right? I've no idea. But anyway, last night I tweeted the developers and I was like, it's late, so excuse me if I'm missing details here, but basically the TLDR is the previous owner sold the game to a new owner instead of giving ownership of the game to you as agreed upon. Here's the deal. Apologies if not, but I'm going to assume that most of the dev team is young here. The reality is this is a $1 million plus IP that you have on Roblox with Forsaken. IP stands for intellectual property if you didn't know. Considering the situation, you need lawyers involved yesterday. You can't just transfer ownership of something like this without proper paperwork and legal documents or you're asking for trouble. There's really too much to say in just one tweet, but the reality here is you're now running a game studio. You now have a business. There's large amounts of money involved, and the previous owner allegedly committed crimes. You need legal reps on this ASAP. Unless proper legal docs were signed, Sol could and probably has full rights to do whatever they want. Until pen is put to paper, you likely own nothing. And then I said I'd hop on a call with them and talk through everything, right? And that's what we've done. For the past, 12 hours or so, actually almost 24 hours at this point, I guess, I've been in contact with the Forsaken development team. I've been kind of walking them through this. I'm not saying this to like throw shade at them or anything. I think they're genuinely great people. After talking with them, they're awesome, right? Like 100%. They genuinely care about the game and the community, and like they're not in it for the money. They're not, they're not those people. They're not these big corporations, right? So like hats off to the development team of Forsaken. They're awesome. But anyway, I've been talking to them and it's like, look, a lot of these devs, they are kids. They don't know what they're doing. And I mean, case in point, the fact that we're even in this situation is proof of that, right? Forsaken is a Roblox game that is making millions of dollars a year. And whenever you have a game that's making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars a year, you need to have a legal representative. You need to have lawyers. You need to have structures. You need to register, like the game as like a business entity. There's so much legal stuff that you have to do, right? And I know it's not fun to do that. I know that you probably don't like doing that, but the reality is if you don't do that, you get screwed. And that's exactly what happened here. The developers of Forsaken got screwed. Right? Because there was no contract, there was no legal paperwork, nothing like that, right? Like you just have to, right? Like this game makes millions of dollars a year. Congratulations, you now own a business, right? Congratulations, you now run a pretty much a AAA development team. Whether you like it or not, you have to treat it like this. This is the position you're in. That's just the reality, right? And again, I'm not saying this to shade the developers or anything like that. Again, they're young. They didn't know. A lot of developers on Roblox, they don't know these things, right? They make a game at the age of 15. That game blows up, pops off, starts making millions of dollars, and you know, they don't take the proper steps to protect themselves. And now we're in this situation. But anyway, I've been in contact with the developers. Here's what's going to happen. Look, I know I've only been in this community for like 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. 7 days. Let's go. But look, here's the thing. Like I said, I think my track record here on Roblox speaks for itself. I don't like pay to win mechanics. I don't like over monetization. Shoot, I've almost had meetings with legal representatives, state representatives. They canceled the meeting beforehand. But like, I've tried to get loot boxes banned in the United States, right? Like, I am so vehemently against that stuff. Like, look, these are some developers that, you know, their values align with my values. This is a game that is made by fans for the fans. I do not want to see this game fall into the hands of some big corporation that only cares about the money. That's the reality, right? So I reached out to these developers, and I can't really say much. But we are going to be exploring every possible avenue to make sure that the game is good. All right. And you know, that everyone who's been working on the game continues to work on the game, that the, you know, original development team can stay and work on the game, but besides Sol and Ava, obviously. But we're trying to make sure everything is good. There's tons of different options that are on the table right now, tons of different pathways, tons of different, you know, like roads that you know, we can go down. Just know that I am helping these devs out. We are working on it, and hopefully this can be a collaborative effort to make sure that the game stays good and stays out of the hands of, you know, these greedy corporations. I also want to go back to what I said at the beginning of the video, right? Whenever there is a situation where someone is apparently or allegedly committing crimes or doing something illegal, this is why you get proper authorities involved, whether that be lawyers, whether that be the police, whether that be whoever it may be, Roblox, Discord, whatever it is, right? Because, yay, you ran this person off of Twitter. Fantastic. You did it. Well, actually, no. In fact, they just, they might have possibly just killed the entire game, right? They may have just possibly killed the entire game. That's why it's important to do things the right way, the professional way, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Hopefully this all makes sense. If you're any kids out there, if there's any kids out there that are watching this video and they have a Roblox game and like it blows up, please, 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 please make sure you're crossing your T's, dotting your I's, right? It's very, very important. Otherwise, you'll run into a situation where, I mean, look, this is a great game. I love this game. But right now, this game is in the hands and is completely owned by someone like this. I say completely. It might be like a 50-50 deal. I don't know. I don't know the terms of the deal that that Sol and Ava sold, you know, to this guy. It could be a 50-50 deal where Sol and Ava are still getting 50% of the game, and this guy's like the new owner of it, and it's his job to keep, you know, making the game. It's kind of like what Grow a Garden is, right? Like Grow a Garden, Do Big doesn't own 100% of the game. The original developer that they bought the game from keeps 50%, so they keep earning 50% of the game each month, right? And then Do Big and Jandal gets the other 50%. It could be a situation like that, where this guy's getting 50% of the game, and then Sol and Ava will continue to get the other 50%. Like, we just don't know, right? This is part of the conversations that I'm going to have with this guy, with the current developers. I just want to look. I know, like I said, I've only been in this community for like a week, but like, I like what this game stands for. This game stands for what everything Roblox used to represent before all these greedy corporations and companies came in and started messing about, right? Not saying that this guy is a greedy corporation or company or anything like that. I don't know him. I've not met him, right? So maybe this guy is cool beans. I don't know. I don't want to hate on this guy, right? But like, maybe he's a great dude. I don't know. We'll talk to him, right? I'm gonna meet him. I just like what this game stands for, and I don't want to see it go down the drain because of some owners that didn't know what they were doing in the form of Sol and Ava, that also maybe, quite possibly, very high chance that they did something illegal, right? So like, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, what a situation. What a crazy situation. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm sure the developers will keep everyone updated. But for right now, look, here's the thing. If you're a fan of this game, give the developers, give Basil and Hitoko, where's he at? Here he is right here, Hitoko. Look, they're gonna need some time to get everything situated, right? So like, there's a lot of things that they can't say right now. There's a lot of things that they shouldn't say right now, just because like this is a whole legal thing, right? Like there's so many like things happening at once, right? So like there's not going to be a lot of answers for a bit. That's okay. They're not hiding anything or anything like that. It's just like legally, you know, this is now a legal situation, right? Like this is now a legal situation, basically. So that's kind of where we're at. Anyway, crazy day. Wow. I'll see you guys next time.